Alrighty, so today we're going to be taking a look at the Mr. Robot Capture the Flag from VulnHub. This virtual machine has 3 flags. The first is fairly easy to get, but the second 2 will take a bit of work. So to get this started, we're going to need to find out what is running, and to do this, we're going to be using Nmap. Now we're starting with a full network scan, but this is going to tell us what's running and will allow us to start probing services for vulnerabilities and potential information leaks. Okay, so our Mr. Robot has picked up the IP address 172.28.128.4. As you can see from the output, we have 2 open ports, 80 and 443. These are both used to serve web content. So our next step will be to start another Nmap scan, but this time we're going to tell Nmap to include the HTTP enum script as a part of its processing. This script is going to go through and try and look for any folders or hidden content that may exist on this server, and hopefully we'll return a few clues onto what we need to look into next. What we're also going to do is we're going to fire up a web browser and we're going to head over and see if we can view the website that this server is actually hosting. Alright, so what it looks like is we've got a really cool booting up screen coming up to a logon. I mean, we're not typing anything in here, it's just automatically doing it. It's a fairly cool little screen. We're just going to take a look at the source code just to see if there's anything that might might be in here that might be helpful. There's really nothing in here. I mean, the IP might be a hint for later, but at the moment it doesn't really look like there's much. So we'll just close that. Alright. And we can type stuff in there, even though I really think it's worthwhile at the moment exploring what those commands are. Okay, so our HTTP enum script has returned a few items for us. We've got an admin folder, potentially maybe an admin backend. We'll quickly check it out first. Doesn't really appear to be doing very much, so we might check out the source. And again, really there's nothing much in the source. We got another, looks like a public IP again, but it's not really doing anything. So we might check out WP logon, see if we can get a WordPress logon to come up, and we'll also take the robots.txt file after that. So it appears like, yeah, so there's something screwing with the address bar. Won't let me type in, so we'll just kill it. We'll try and redo that. Yeah. Alright, so we got our WordPress login up. WordPress is quite fun to go after, but before we do that, we'll just see if we can check out this robots.txt file as well. See if there's anything in there that's worth checking out. Alright, we got 2 entries in there. So there's fsociety.dict, which I'm assuming is just going to be a word list, and we got our first key. So as I said, the first key is pretty easy to get. The second 2, there is a bit of a jump from this key to the second key. There's quite a bit involved to get there, but if you stick around, it won't be too much longer, and we'll be there anyway. And what we're doing is just grabbing the 2 files with wget so we can store them for later. Especially the word list, we want to download that so we can clean it up, remove any duplicates, which we're just going to have a quick look at. See how many lines this word list has. Says 858,000. So what we're just going to do is just sort it and process the unique entries into a new text file. And we'll call that clean word list. And if we take a look at the clean word list, see how many rows we've got in it. 11,000. So we've reduced quite a bit. Went from 850,000 down to 11,000. So that should be a bit of a quicker process now if we want to use that to go after WordPress. Alright, so back here at WordPress. WordPress is a pretty cool thing. If you put a valid username in, it will tell you that it is an incorrect password. It won't tell you that the username is invalid, but if you put an invalid username, as you can see there, it comes up saying invalid username. So what we can do is we can use this to go after the username entry, and we'll pass it the word list, and we're going to use Hydra to do that. But first of all, we need some information before we can go after it with Hydra. So we're just going to use the developer tools to have a look at the network traffic. What we can tell straight away is that it was a post request. We need to know that for Hydra. It specifically needs to know that. We also need to know the page that it was posting to and the content that it was posting. So we'll have to rewrite some of the content so it knows what to replace. But we're not going to use it all. We're pretty much just going to use it up until the WordPress submit login portion of that string. So firing up Hydra. The first thing we'll provide is a word list for the username. We're just going to provide a static password because the name of the game here is just to get the username, not to worry about what the password is or could be. All we're going to do is just go after it, and we're going to use that by using the invalid username text inside the page, because as soon as we provide it with a valid username, it will no longer show that. So you can see with Hydra, we've given it an IP address it's posting to. We've told it that it's going to be a HTTP post request. Next, we're just providing the contents that we'll be posting to the server. We'll need to replace inside of this text. We're going to have to replace what we would like it to replace with the username in each entry in that word list. So it's done by using the symbol above the number 6 key on your keyboard. User, and then that number 6 key again. If we wanted to replace the password, you'd also do the same character and just replace it with pass. But as I said, we're not worrying about a password here. And then we're going to tell it when it posts that what to look for inside of the response to trigger on. So when it sees invalid username, it's going to class that as being invalid. As soon as that changes and it no longer sees invalid username in the response, it's going to come back as saying that is a valid login. So we should see a few entries show up above Hydra. What I've done is I've missed no, I haven't. I've missed something else. What have I missed? Sorry. No. Yeah, I think I've missed. Should tell it. Yeah, I think I forgot to tell it what page to post to. See if this works. Alright, and Hydra is off. So in a few seconds, this process on my machine took about 7 minutes, but I have cut it down. And as you can see there, it's returned a few items and basically found the login Elliot. Now, obviously, sup is not the password. We'll be going after that next with another tool, WP Scan. We could do it again with Hydra, but I just prefer to use WP Scan. It's a bit better. A little bit less work to work out, switch-wise, whether you're doing the right thing or not. Pretty much just going to provide the URL, tell it to go after the password with the word list, and you're pretty much done. Obviously, with WP Scan, you do need that username. You can't get it to go after the username, which is why Hydra is filling that void for us today. Right, we'll kick WP Scan off now. This process did take 5 to 10 minutes for me, but what we'll also do is we will go and download Pendesk Monkey. Now, these links will be in the description. This is a pretty cool tool. It's going to just give us a really basic PHP reverse shell. So once we get into WordPress, we're going to replace one of the PHP pages with our reverse shell. We'll set up a netcat listener on our Kali Linux machine. When that PHP reverse shell initiates its connection, it's going to connect back to that reverse that listening port for us, and then we'll have a actual shell on the server that we can run commands and elevate privilege from there. So this script is a fairly easy one. You can generate the same thing with Metasploit if you want to go down that route, but this is just a very lightweight, very nice package. So we've downloaded it with wget. So next we'll just need to extract the data out, which we've done. And just in the background there, WP scan has finished, so it took 2 and a bit minutes. So I actually lied, I thought it took a bit longer, but so here we're just going to set the IP address. So this IP address is just going to be the IP address of our Kali Linux machine. Similar with a port, we'll need to set up netcat to listen on that port or a different port, which we'll set up in a minute anyway before we actually upload it. So my the IP address of my machine was .3, so I'm just heading back over to the script to update it with my correct IP address. And I like to change the port. A lot of my reverse listeners, I usually use quad 4. It's just habit. And yeah, there's really nothing else with this script that you need to do. So next you just want to copy that into your clipboard, because once we log into WordPress, as I said, we'll go in and we're going to replace one of the PHP pages with that the new PHP code that we have. And we can see the password there for Elliot was capital ER 28 0652. So we're just going to log in with that password. Alrighty, so we are logged into WordPress. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go down to Appearance, and then we'll select Editor. This will allow us to edit certain pages. So the page we're going to edit is the 404.php page. So this is going to be a pretty easy page to edit. All we'll need to do is just cause a 404 not found error, and we'll trigger our reverse shell. So we've updated the page. Next we just need to start netcat, so that we have a listening port that when it connects back, we'll be able to actually start running commands through it. So alright, so now that we have netcat listening, we'll just fire up, cause a 404 to occur, and there we go. So now we've got a remote shell. From here we can execute commands on the remote system. The current user is Damon. So we'll just quickly have a bit of a look and see what directory we're in, potentially if we can access anything, or if there's anything that stands out. So we'll just try root first. Didn't think would work, but it was worth a try. So we'll just go into home, and there's a robot folder. So if we change to robot, have a bit of a look in here. So there's 2 files in here. So we got the second key and we got the password. Now we don't have access to key 2 of 3, but we do have access to password.raw md5. So we'll open up that file, we'll get that md5 hash out, and we'll head over to a rainbow table that will allow us to put the hash in and see if it's common, and see if it's something that it's already got. If it doesn't, then we're going to have a look and see if that word list that was provided at the beginning, whether it's one of the passwords in that word list, which it could be, it might not. So we'll try the rainbow table first. It's a pretty quick and easy test. So we're going to head over to CrackStation. We'll put our word list in, not word list, sorry, the hash. Go through the reCAPTCHA. I can never type these in properly. Alright, and there you go. So it actually has, it is, been cracked by these guys before. So it's just the entire alphabet. So it's not really any reason why it wouldn't have been cracked by them. And we run into one of our first issues. So we can't actually change to the robot user. Our privilege that we have is probably not a problem, but the shell that we actually currently have is limiting us. So What we're going to do is we're going to do something with Python. We'll create a temporary file that will actually bind to bash. That way, once we execute the Python file, it'll give us an actual proper terminal that we can then use su robot and put in the MD5 password that we just got, and hopefully be able to change under that user, and then we'll be able to have access to key 2 of 3. So all we're doing here is we're just pretty much creating a really basic Python script, and we're going to put that in the temp folder because it's going to be a really good chance that we actually have access to that. Alright, so now we'll just execute that. Alrighty, and we actually have a better terminal now. So now if we try the su robot, we should be able to actually put in the password and change into the robot account. And that was successful, so we're now able to see if we can open up this key. Alright, we can see the key. So next we need to try and see where the third flag is. And I have a feeling that because this is our boot to root machine, we're going to be talking about getting into the root folder. So what we're going to try and do is just see if there's a way that we can find something that will give us access. And to do that, we're going to run a script from Pentest Monkey. Again, the link will be included in the description. All I'm going to do first is just change into temp again, just because that's where I'm going to have access to write files. So we'll download the privsec-check script, which is going to allow us to get some really detailed information about what's on this machine, what we can use to potentially elevate access and get under the root account. This is a pretty awesome script. It is very thorough, and I definitely would recommend it. So check out the link in the description, and see how you go with it. Alright, so now that we're in the folder, we should just be able to pretty much run the script straight away. And all we're going to do is just specify detailed. There's two different options. You can see if you just run the script, you got standard and detailed. We could run a standard scan first, but we're just going to jump right in. We're going to do the detailed scan, and the key here is that especially if you're a terminal or if you're limited with your output, best bet is to grep for the word warning, just because that's going to limit the number of lines that are actually returned and give you some more pretty much just specifically useful information rather than lots of useless information. You can see we're doing here, just grep for warning, and we're off. So as this runs through, it'll be checking quite a few different things, quite a few tools, and just seeing if anything is useful. So a couple of things there. It's actually probably one of the more interesting ones is nmap in that output there. So I just cancelled out of the remote shell to the bummer, but it's not too bad. We can just come back over and cause another 404 after we start netcat. So get that running again, cause another 404. Alright, so now we'll log in. We'll start our Python shell. Now, where were we? We wanted to check out nmap. So cool thing about nmap, it does have an interactive mode. interactive. Let's see if I can spell it. Nope. So we can't run it. Why can't we run it? We're still under daemon. So okay, so we'll need to change back to robot. So just SU robot again. Go and grab the password. Alrighty, so what we're going to do now is we're back on the robot. So we're going to run nmap again. So nmap has an interactive mode. The reason we're going to use it is because nmap on this system has its SUID set to root, which means that when we run these commands, it's actually going to be running at quite a high level of privilege. And as you can see there, it's given us root access and being able to change into the root directory. Now we're able to open up the third and final key of this VM. So this has been great. It has been quite a bit of fun. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Check out the description. There's plenty of good content in there. Definitely check out Pentest Monkey. He has quite a few good tools on there, and they've been really helpful for this VM. All right, catch us later. Bye.